Good evening, friends in Chicago. It's wonderful to be with you. It's been a very exciting day. If this is a regular day in Chicago, wow, I can't imagine what you guys do with your downtime. So it's really it's a pleasure to be with all of you. It's a special pleasure to be able to join you in honoring two extraordinary alumni, Dr. Michel Elbaoui and Dr. Ara Tikian. I want to I think they're going to be more properly recognized shortly, but I want to just say a few words about this evening's honorees. They're both extraordinary individuals and AUB alumni through and through. They're well known to all of you, to all of us. Michel has left his mark on the world as a pediatric cardiovascular and thoracic surgeon. He's pioneered extracorporeal membrane oxygenation, what most of us know as ECMO, but I had to look up because it's been a while since I used the language. And he's advanced substantially the congenital repair of the hearts of children, the repair of congenital heart defects. He's mentored generations of surgeons. He's made seminal contributions to the literature on pediatric cardiac surgery. So please, Michel, thank you. I've known the Associate Dean for the Office of International Education at the University of Illinois, Chicago's College of Medicine, a good bit longer. So Ara is a leading scholar in the education of professionals. He's made substantial contributions in this area. He's been honored internationally, including by the Ellis Island Medal of Honor in 2017. He's a particularly active alumnus. He's served as chapter president here on 3 different occasions. He's helped prepare and bring into professional life generations of scholars and educators. So please, Ara Tikian. This year at AUB, which is one of the things, I think the major thing you expect to hear from me, has started really remarkably well. It's been a while since I could say this so clearly, but on September 1, we had our opening day remarks. And this is my 11th opening day remark. And in my life, I have seen Assembly Hall packed 3 times. Once when we gave a rock concert, which I'll remember we were a bit mischievous and put up a sign all over us, Beirut, that said sex, sex, sex. Now that we've got your attention, there's a rock concert happening. Believe it or not, we sold out Assembly Hall. I think my father and Nabil Ashar were not thrilled with the advertising campaign. Once at my father's memorial service and once this at opening day. Opening day, it's hard to get the students. This year, the students were standing room only. And that is because there's a strong belief in the future, not only of AUB, but I think the future of the people of Lebanon and Palestine in the region. I'm not beginning to say that this is an easy period, but I do think there is renewed confidence that something is happening, especially at AUB. There are many signs of positive energy, but I'd have to say that the students are not good at faking that positive energy, and the students feel it. So this year, we suffered from a 10% reduction in applications last fall. Anyone want to guess why we had a reduction in applications last fall? There was a war going on in Lebanon. So we were down 10%. Most of that 10% was international students. However, with visas becoming something of an issue in a couple of countries in the West, maybe America and Britain, we kept a much higher percentage of the very top students from Lebanon, from Palestine, some kids from Jordan, kids from Syria, kids from Iraq. So we have our highest ever median, not just SAT, but cumulative score. And fresh from last Thursday when we closed the books, we now have 7,066 undergraduates. It's not the largest class ever, but we have the largest retention of undergraduates. that we've ever had. I mean, people are not transferring out. On the contrary, people are transferring in. And the Faculty of Medicine is doing exceptionally well. Last year, we had a record number of applicants, record MCAT scores, and the median GPA unadjusted was 4.0. It's an exceptional class, really. I know because about 65 to 68% of the class in every year on average comes from our AUB graduating class, undergraduate class. This year we got exceptional kids from several generations, or several classes, because some couldn't get in last year who stayed and boosted their MCATs or did a master's or did other things. But we got 9 kids from the US and Canada from top universities like Brown and McGill. These have impacted our rankings for the medical school. So the medical school is now ranked 132nd in the world. That may not sound very impressive, but there are 26 US medical schools ahead of us only. Both of the medical schools, Northwestern and Chicago, are ahead of us, but there are only 7 medical schools in the entire Midwest that rank at or better than AUB medical school. And these are by criteria like where the graduates place. So this describes many of you, professional achievements, publications, matching. Last year we matched 86% of the students at the first attempt. And part of it is also the experience, which is diversifying. So we're back at the same number of physicians and nurses that we had when things started to go south in 2020. And we believe we'll be able to expand their experience, not just through rotations in the US and Great Britain and elsewhere, but we've now, as you know, acquired the Kisarwan Medical Center, which we acquired 2 years ago, September, and that is now month on month exceeding its patient and financial projections. We took a hospital that was moribund with 45 open beds, would have closed in 3 months. We're now up to 79 beds, and we can confidently project that by 2030, that'll be a 140 to 150 bed hospital. That'll be the busiest hospital in Kisarwan and one of the 2 busiest in the north of Lebanon. We're planning to establish centers of excellence at the KMC in heart, cancer, trauma, and orthopedics. And we are getting people who are able to come. Now, in spite of the travel, I would say almost travel ban to Lebanon. Lebanon's been moved up to the 2nd highest category, just short of Iran or Iraq. We had our first Middle East Medical Assembly in early October since May of 2019. We had more than 1,000 people who registered, and all of the speakers who came, because they could not travel professionally, they paid for their own travel and came as vacation. And it was just an incredible cardiovascular meeting with some really world-class people. A few weeks before that, the Arafat Tfaili and Suresh Ramalingam and others organized a fest-drift for me. We got 20 top medical oncologists and basic scientists and hematologists traveling from the United States, again on supposed vacation. So please come spend your vacation at AUB and help us teach. One recent initiative that I think it's important that you hear about is that we've announced and we're planning to launch, starting in the summer of 2027, a School of Computing and Data Sciences. This is a $100 million undertaking. Yep, gentlemen, ladies, look at your credit cards. And while we formally launched the school on May 29, 2025, we anticipate that within 2 to 3 years, we'll have raised half of that for capital for factory recruitment and building. And we intend to enroll 450 students within the next 5 to 10 years. And we're not doing this to be like MIT or Caltech or someone else, but let's face it, data science, computing, AI are becoming a language and a skill. And it's going to be one of the defining qualities that employers and academics are looking for, is some fluidity with this and ability to use this technology, plus to innovate in it. School is going to start by offering undergraduate bachelor's degree, but the plan is by 2035 to have doctoral programs there as well. The master's and PhD programs are all making their way through, but this is an important undertaking in that we have not really founded a new school other than the Orléans School of Business, which was really incubating within the Faculty of Arts and Sciences, came out, then went back in, then came out. And we celebrated this year 125 years of business education at AUB. This is going to be something entirely new. If we are fortunate and we play our cards right, we also intend to have a School of Design and a School of Arts and Humanities over the next decade. These will be the first three new schools formed since the 1950s. What is completely new is AUB Mediterraneo, and I probably get asked about that as much as anything else. How's it going in Cyprus? It's going extremely well. We have 245 students. The median admission for SAT in Beirut is 1290, which is remarkable because you can imagine what the mean math score is, but that means the median English score is quite good. The median at AUB Mediterraneo is 1270, so there's no statistical difference. And we're not competing with Beirut. In fact, the 10 students who got into both all went to Beirut. But we have about 27% of the students at AUB Mediterraneo are Lebanese. Next highest is Jordanian, Syrian, Palestinian. But we have students from Ukraine, Bulgaria, Uganda, Sudan, Santa Lucia, Tunisia, China, Congo, Kenya, Saudi Arabia, Morocco, Turkey, Democratic Republic of Congo, and Iraq. Many of those would not come to Beirut. And so far that school is at least providing evidence for a hypothesis, which is that there's probably 50% more capacity for top students who want to come to AUB, but who they or their parents are afraid of going to Lebanon. Eventually, with the fluidity between the two, our goal is to settle about 8,500 in Beirut and no more than 2,500 for Cyprus. So our goal is not to get 4,000 more students because we've also got online education. Last year we had 3,000 unique new online students, not bad for something that started just 3 years ago. And our target is to cross 15 to 20,000 within 3 years and 30,000 by 2035. So we're building these parts slowly and they seem to be fitting together. People ask me all the time, what keeps you up at night? I don't think you want your dinner to get cold. Everything keeps me up at night. But one of the things that keeps me up at night is how these pieces fit. And so far, I have to say they're fitting better, faster than we could have hoped for or dreamed. People are starting to go from Beirut to Cyprus. People who have graduated several years are going on and getting not just degrees or diplomas, but micro-credentials using AUB Online. Some of our own community are using the Kisarwan Medical Center, which is actually increasing referrals from that area for tertiary and quaternary care to AUBMC. So far, so good. What keeps me up at night is something different, which is we're facing a period where the value equation for higher education, to a large degree into healthcare, is being brought into question. In the US, we recently saw an increase in confidence in higher education in the US to 37%. It had hit 31%, the lowest ever. These are Gallup polls, by the way. These are not Democratic or Republican polls, just like there aren't sectarian fires in Lebanon. The Gallup polls are the Gallup polls. So it's remarkable how low confidence in higher education has sunk in the US. It's also sunk in Britain and elsewhere because the reduction in the equation has become higher education equals a job. And higher education is about so much more than a job. Higher education is about providing people with a sense of their role in the community, of their common culture, of how their disparate backgrounds fit into a greater whole, how a community gets past having many others so that there are no more others. These are all the things that higher education should be making a much better case in the US. And I'm happy to say that at AUB and in Lebanon, it actually makes sense. I'm going to end by telling you a very funny thing that happened to me recently when, shortly before I was elected to the American Academy, Harvard Business School reached out to me and said, "We'd like to interview you." And I said, "This should be interesting." "Sure." Said, "We want to interview you because you're curious what made you renew a second time. Why in God's name would you want to serve a third term?" And I found it, funny. I said, "Well, I'm going to tell you a simple paradigm that happens to be wrong. There's the idea, and there's so many of you who are accomplished leaders, that you start out as a small fish in a small pool, and then you grow, and then you go to that medium-sized pool when you're a medium fish, and then a big fish. You go to a big pool, and then it's nonsense. Anywhere the water is fine is the right pool for that fish. Chicago is the right pool for many of you. Beirut and AUB happens to be so for me and for many people. But more important than anything I do is the simple recognition that the American University of Beirut is the only institution in the Levant, and I would argue in the Arab world, that proves to the people of that region that we are not children of a lesser God. And that, my friends, is why I renewed and will serve for as long as I'm asked. Thank you very much.